Hello everyone, how I2C works. With I2C, data is transferred in messages. Messages are broken up into frames of data. Each message has an address frame that contains the binary address of the slave, and one or more data frames that contain the data being transferred. This figure represents the message. It includes start and stop conditions, read or write bits, and acknowledge or non-acknowledge bits between each data frame. Next, start and stop conditions. Those are highlighted in blue color. In start condition, the STL line switches from a high voltage level to a low voltage level before the serial clock line switches from high to low. In stop condition, the STL line switches from a low voltage level to a high voltage level after the serial clock line switches from low to high. Next, address frame, a 7 or 10 bit sequence unique to each slave that identifies the slave when the master wants to talk to it. Next to the address frame, read or write bit. In read or write bit, a single bit specifying whether the master is sending data to the slave or requesting data from it. While sending data, voltage level is low, and while requesting data, voltage level is high. Next, acknowledge or no acknowledge bit. Each frame in a message is followed by an acknowledge or no acknowledge bit. If an address frame or data frame was successfully received, an acknowledge bit is returned to the sender from the receiving device. Next, the data frame. After the master detects the acknowledge bit from the slave, the first data frame is ready to be sent. The data frame is always 8 bit long and sent with the most significant bit first. Each data frame is immediately followed by an acknowledge or no acknowledge bit to verify that the frame has been received successfully. The acknowledge bit must be received by either the master or the slave, depending on who is sending the data, before the next data frame can be sent. After all of the data frames have been sent, the master can send a stop condition to the slave to halt the transmission. The stop condition is a voltage transition from low to high on the STL line. After a low to high transition on the SEL line, with the SEL line remaining high. Next, addressing. I2C doesn't have slave select lines like SPI, so it needs another way to let the slave know that data is being sent to it and not another slave. It does this by addressing. The address frame is always the first frame after the start bit in a new message. The master sends the address of the slave it wants to communicate with to every slave connected to it. Each slave then compares the address sent from the master to its own address. If the address matches, it sends a low voltage acknowledge bit back to the master. If the address doesn't match, the slave does nothing and the STL line remains high. Next, read or write bit. The address frame includes a single bit at the end that informs the slave whether the master wants to write data to it or receive data from it. If the master wants to send data to the slave, the read or write bit is a low voltage level. If the master is requesting data from the slave, the bit is a high voltage level.